Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Dice Commando on the Commando Cast. Thanks for joining me again today. So this whole week we're going through the, kind of my take, my perspective on the ARH, FFG, re-legality, reprint list, whatever you want to call it. So join me today as I go through my take on characters and plots. Everyone, thanks for joining me again. Happy Tuesday. Hope your week's been going well so far. So today, looking at characters and plots, very, fundamental, important things about Star Wars Destiny, because that's what you start and play with. That's what defines your teams. They carry big impact. And that's why I find it kind of interesting. Obviously we're starting with it, but what I find kind of interesting about this is from my perspective of kind of what we talked about in the philosophy episode, the last episode as well, is this is also the space that allows the most fun and most flexibility for the designers to actually do. So from my perspective, there's actually not going to be that many reprinted characters. Because kind of the overall philosophy I'm looking at is, what purpose does this character serve? Can someone else, can another character do this better or different? And in most cases for characters, because you can change die size, you can change abilities, you can change health, you can change all that, you can change interactions, it's pretty hard in most cases to make an argument that some other character couldn't, in theory, do it better. And I carry that forward to plots as well. There are some pretty core plots, or a couple that I'll be proposing do get reprinted, but by and large, there's not going to be a lot reprinted because, again, that's the flexibility space there. So let's go ahead and get into this with, I think, our number one reprint. I think most people are going to be on this one, but again, that's just my take, is the First Order Stormtrooper. First Order Stormtrooper was actually reprinted in Convergence Block. That was mainly to support Phasma. But the First Order Stormtrooper has First Order Stormtrooper's been around since day one. I think it was literally card 1 in Awakenings, right? Correct me if I'm wrong there. But if not, it was like 2. It's somewhere right in there. But either way, it's just a fundamental card of Destiny. I can't envision a Star Wars Destiny without a First Order Stormtrooper. Furthermore, it kind of provides that baseline on what he's a pretty good character, right, all in all, and I think he provides a pretty good baseline on what a 7.7 health, non-unique character should do. So I can't, like I said, I can't envision this game without that, so First Order Stormtrooper is probably the number one on my list. Next goes more, these ones go more into the, from here on out, goes more in, from a character standpoint, goes more into, I think, the emotional space for me. But also, and that's not to say, because remember, we're trying to avoid the Greatest Hits album, but also from a practical standpoint of me of, what are some things that FFG really executed very, very well? And what are some things that will help, when new players or someone who picks something up at like Barnes & Noble or a reprint sale or whatever it may be, what are they going to have that might provide them a really good starting point to kind of step into ARH standard? And that's why I really think that we should reprint, and this is a whole set, I think we should reprint Reylo and Temporary Truce, right? Rey. So Spark of Hope Rey, Spark of Hope Kylo, and Temporary Truce. I think that this team was almost without a doubt FFG's kind of capstone of all of Destiny, right? It was a very, very good deck, but it was thematic as all hell. It was executed perfectly. It sang to many, many different audiences. It was super fun to play. I think it was one of the best done kind of like auto teams they ever made. And I think it's really exciting. It's, again, it speaks to a certain generation. I can't envision this game long term without having Rey and Kylo in it. And honestly, when I look at, the team up thing with Temporary Truce, it's fantastic, right? So I would love to see those 3 cards kind of as a team reprinted. It would be kind of sad one day to because Spark of Hope Rey is really, really good, right? Like, she could get reprinted. I mean, she's viable in some pairs today. And again, from a reprint list perspective, these guys aren't even on there yet, I don't believe, right? Now, they're not seeing much play today, but I wanted to speak to these guys specifically because I think this kind of sets a really good example of where my headspace is and what I'm looking at. So to that end of talking to some characters that are actually on the reprint list, I want to look at the 2-player set, right? The 2-player set still stands as something that, now again, you guys saw my video. I think we need a new 2-player set. I think it'd be great. But the 2-player set is still flying around out there. It's still in stock at Asmodee. People can still buy it if they want it. And I would like to see 3 of 4 of those characters reprinted. Basically, the one I'd like to say bye-bye to, just because he's caused problems and feel-bads in the past, is Kylo, right? So I don't think Kylo we should reprint. I think the mono hate there just caused a lot of problems for a long time. It feels too restrictive from a design standpoint to a certain extent. But there are some good stuff out of that as well. 2-player Rey, she was just a good character, right? She wasn't overpowered, didn't find a lot of homes, but she's something that if somebody has it, they could make a deck out of her. And I think it would be really good to see her. 2-player Poe, right? 2-player Poe Dameron, more than a pilot, is another one of those characters that I think was just really well designed. He fits in. He could still fit in today if he was still legal. I could see decks out there with the little special chaining thing. There's a lot of options there. And I think, again, that's something that someone can start with. You've got his Poe Dameron's blaster out there, whatever, put it on him. I just think it was really well done as well. And finally, my last character, that's not true. I've got one more. 2-player Phasma. 2-player Phasma is, she's a good character too. She's still good in her own right. I think that if she was legal in today's ARH standard, she'd be finding homes intermittently. And again, it's something that people have as an easy starting point for it. So yes, I'd like to see 3 of those 4 characters from the 2-player set reprinted. My last overall character, this is an interesting one that I know not everyone will agree with this one, but I would like to see Tarkin, Legacy's Tarkin. I'd like to see him reprinted. And the reason him specifically, I know he doesn't fit a niche or anything like that. It's just his ability was so unique and it opened up so much play design that I don't think any other character can do something like that. I don't think any other character in the future could be designed to do something like that similarly and do it better, right? And his price point of being a 16-point character was really restricted. You could play him with, 2 7s if you wanted to, and you kind of had to figure it out. That again, I think he's really well designed where he was at. He was never, aside from the Tarkin Snoke era, he was never super crazy. And again, it's one of those things where I don't think, if they design something that is something similar in 2 years, we're going to be like, oh, that's Tarkin, and then he's going to get measured against Tarkin. So I think that there's an argument to be made to actually just reprint Tarkin. So that is it I have from the characters. Let's move into the plots. So in addition to Temporary Truce, which we already talked about, and again, I know that Temporary Truce isn't yet on the list, but I think it should be in perpetuity going forward. I have 3 plots that are on the list that I'd like to see reprinted. The first is Profitable Connection. I think that Profitable Connection was kind of the fundamental plot. 3 points for 1 resource. It really defined a lot of what that curve should look like, and I think it might actually help us a lot to actually kind of bring that back and kind of re-baseline where we need to be from a money-making standpoint. So I'd love to see Profitable Connection get reprinted. The next is Taking Ground. This was a really fun battlefield. It didn't see a ton, really fun plot. Didn't see a ton of play. It was, intermittent in a couple decks where people really wanted to make sure they got the battlefield, and I think that was perfect. Right, so it's a 2-pointer. It gives you the extra initiative on the roll, and then it's basically worthless to you. I thought that was really, really good as well. I'd love to see that one reprinted. Last card up is, this one's going to be controversial, I know, because when it got spoiled, everyone was like, oh my god, this card is busted. And it never really ended up being. And I just enjoyed the deck building space that it opened up. And again, it's one of those things where I don't think another card could do it better. And that is Double Down. right? Double down the number of the amount of deck building options and kind of crazy wombo combo-y type stuff that people were trying to figure out with getting, that extra third copy of whatever it may be, never really ended up being like a broken problem. I don't recall any super top tier decks that were using double down. I may be forgetting one. But it was really just one of those, opens up a huge line of play. I don't think anything can really do any, and we've seen some similar stuff to that where we basically bring in things from our out of play zone, the set aside zone, sideboard, whatever you want to call it. Right, you bring stuff in from that, and it adds more to your deck. And we've got plenty of cards, or a couple cards that do stuff like that. But I think Double Down really just does what it does, and I don't think anything can ever do it better. So that's the other one I would like to see. So that's it for today. That's my list for today. Not very many characters, not very many plots. So there's not a ton to say there, but I think, and at least I hope, that kind of what I outline holds with at least my philosophy of when I go through this of, let's leave room open for people to expand the design space. And if we think that somebody can't design it better, or if we think that if we think that designing something better would be detrimental, then that's when we should focus in on that particular character or those plots and so on. So anyway, let me know what stuff you guys would see. I would really like to see those comments. Can help me kind of formulate kind of my decisions for, filling out my particular survey, which granted is just one of several hundred that'll get filled out, but still trying to just figure out. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking as well. Start that conversation, kind of help me get my head on the right space. And again, right, each one of our surveys is only one count, but collectively we're going to be able to at least communicate to ARH what we think things look like. So this is important, and our voice does matter. So let's get her done and let's do it right. So thanks for joining me today. I will see everyone tomorrow for continuation. We're talking about battlefields, and go Commando.